Hey everyone, I'm Selena Hill, and this is the new norm on Black Enterprise. Today I have the privilege to speak with two corporate media powerhouses, Caroline Wanga, who is the CEO of Essence, the #1 media, technology, and commerce company dedicated to Black women and communities. She also serves as Chief Growth Officer for Essence Ventures, which is the parent company of Essence. We are also joined by Erika Bennett, who was appointed as the first ever Chief Marketing Officer at Essence Ventures. Thank you so much, ladies, for joining us here at Black Enterprise.
Thank you for having us. Excited to be here.
Thank you so much. We're thrilled.
Yes, I'm so excited to be here. And, speaking of excitement, we have to start this conversation with the buzz around Essence Fest, which seems to be bigger than usual this year. Do you guys feel it? Like, is it just me, or does it feel like more buzz? Like there's more buzz?
Oh, I feel it for sure. I mean, on the marketing and comm side, we have so many people reaching out to us who want to attend, who want to know more about festival. So I'm definitely feeling the energy. And I would also say that the team has been really intentional about, on the programming side, making sure that it's bigger and better, thinking through the full needs of the Black woman. So whether you are coming for career advice, whether you're coming for empowerment and health, whether you're coming to just hang with your girls and do some fun beauty activities. We've got food, a food and wine festival this year. We've got so much to feed and nourish your soul and the total Black woman. So not only are we feeling the energy, but we were intentional about curating it in that way.
Absolutely true. I mean, I don't think that Erika could have put it a certain way. I'm going to take a point of personal privilege and just really thank Erika for, in the short time that she's been with us here at the Essence family, even just the amount of effort that she's put into making sure we're appropriately celebrating this particular gathering and important part of culture on the places and spaces where we listen to each other, whether it be a radio show or being here with you as a Black media entity. I think that everything about being able to come out of whatever everybody experienced in the pandemic, plus being able to be authentically celebrating something that has been here in the city of New Orleans for 27 years and brought 500,000 people together, largest festival in the nation by per day attendance. And then on top of that, with what Erika and the rest of the team here at Essence and Essence Ventures are driving to help us also deliver for the first time in all of its existence, not just the live festival component, but a virtual component, that really what we experienced in the pandemic and transitioning this festival to our Essence Studios platform, which this team did a phenomenal job of doing in 2020 and 2021, led us to the place of 45 million views in 2020, 65 million views in 2021. And so when we think about giving this moment its first time to be able to be here live with everybody and their 3 years worth of outfits and everything they're going to do to come together, but then bring our whole family together wherever they may be if they want to participate in this, there's never been a year of Essence Festival like this for that very, very reason. And we couldn't be more excited to be able to give more people the opportunity to experience it in the way that works for them.
This will be my third time at Essence.
Years
ago. When did I go?
Yeah.
I went in 2013 with my family when Beyonce performed.
I love that. Everybody tells the story of who performed the year they went. I love this. So you went Beyonce year and then?
Yes. And then 2018 as press and media.
Okay.
Which was also phenomenal. And that's what I want to ask you, like, how do you keep the festival fresh? How do you keep expanding? I mean, it's already huge.
Yeah.
There are already like 10 different conversations going on simultaneously. And to say you expanded the program, I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, I'll start now, and then I definitely want Erika to build, because I think what's fun for Erika and I is I've been in this role for 2 years. Erika's been here for a much shorter period of time, so we have different perspectives, even though we're equally excited. Here's what I will tell you. I think there's two things that are really important to say in response to your question. I think the first of those is the beauty of Black community is that we're not a monolith. we're not one type of thing. We don't try one type of food. We don't exist in one type of space. And so the reality is the festival can continue to innovate because we as Black folks are that innovative. So we don't have to make up a lot of stuff. We're just continuing to find the things that we are already doing really well, whether it be in small communities and bigs and corporations and in courthouses and anywhere else in between. We have the joy of just capturing the way that we are already existing in the world and figuring out how do we bring that experience into this Essence Festival, both virtually and live. And so what I would tell you is the innovation isn't difficult because of how dope we are and the spectrum of who we are as Black folks, and really embracing this idea that we don't have to be one person. And this festival is not designed for any one person to be able to go to everything. So part of the second part that I'll tie to what you asked is the amount of abundance is intentional, because we want to make sure that wherever you are in your age journey, in your life journey, in your beauty journey, in your relationship journey, in your whatever journey, that you can find a track that keeps you engaged and enjoying and powerful. And it doesn't mean you feel like you have to go everything. Now, you are more than welcome to try. Just don't come and complain to me when you didn't get no sleep. But my point is, like, the idea, and we used the app this year to give people an opportunity to do that. You can build the track that aligns to the Black you live. And we don't want you to have to feel like you have to pick, or you don't belong if you're not this, whether it's about being Girls United in your age, whether it's about your interest in technology, with what we're doing at the Hub, the Food and Wine Festival, if you'd like to sip and, eat here and there from Black owned brands. We want all that to be there. If you are a brother, which the brothers are about 30% of who attends here, but we built in his zone a men's experience specifically just for them at festival, in addition to what they do with everybody else. We actually want you to be overwhelmed with what your choices are, so you can choose the Black journey that works for you, and you can also choose journeys that teach you something else about a different way that another Black person lives. So that abundance is intentional, and we are dope enough to where we're not running out of ideas. I don't know what you think.
No, I agree with that.
No, I love that, Caroline. If I just it also keeps you coming back because you never feel like you get enough. You're exactly like, oh my God, like, now with social media, I'll see what my friends and other colleagues are doing. I'm like, hold on, there was the whole, I didn't even make it to the wellness center.
I missed that. Yeah.
Right. It's like you want to come back, but let's, Erika, please chime in.
That's why we encourage you to download the app, right? To really build out your experience. Some people are coming to be cute in their fashion, and some people are coming to get their career fed. Yeah. And we recognize that. So we encourage you to download the app so that you can really curate your moment. I think it says something about the fact that we understand that there's no one way to be a Black woman, and there's no one way to be a Black person. And so, I just wanted to hit home. Please download the app if you're coming. Yeah. And if you're not, you can go to essencefestival.com, and there's a whole virtual experience. And again, you can sort of curate what you want to tune in for and watch and check out. And so, it's just a really good time and a great opportunity for you to have the festival you'd like to have.
Yeah, and I think Erika brought up a really good point, which is it is not intended to overwhelm you. It's intended to celebrate you. It's intended to show you how it's really hard to run out of ways to figure out how we're dope.
Yeah.
Can I just say, while you were speaking, I received a text notification. Literally, a girlfriend of mine who I haven't seen in years text me, I'm going to be at Essence. Are you here? Would love to reconnect. And I'm just like, no, for the past few weeks, it's literally been like this for me. And I go to a lot of events, but again, I'm telling you, there's something about this year, as you mentioned and touched on, Caroline. I think just being away for 2 years and just not having that experience, I think all of us are like, yes, we want to come together. We want all the things, and that excitement never dies. It's what 27 years in the making.
We're even seeing that within our team, right? Like some of us, I'm so new. I've never met a few people in person
because we've been in Zoom.
Some of us have been, in virtual world, and so even as we come on the ground here in New Orleans, the embraces are a little bit longer. There's like genuine excitement when we see our people. We're loving up on each other. We're complimenting the hair. And so if that's happening within our team, the Black joy that we are all about to experience in a few short days, I am just so looking forward to it. I think it's just going to feed the soul.
I think it really is. And I think that we know that specifically within Black community, there's something really special about when we gather. It could be the family reunion. It could be your weekly, monthly dinner, right? It can be simply your nephew's birthday party. It can be big, small, little, or whatever. And we know how abrupt COVID was in disrupting that. Like, we didn't get time to get ready for that. And I think what has happened in those 2 years is we have a different appreciation for how to get together now that we really, really know what it feels like to not have that available. And while all human beings need that, I think we as Black folk have a different appreciation for what we may be experiencing in the places that we live separately, that we get fueled when we get to come to things like this. So wherever we go back to, whether it's two of us or one of us, we have fuel to get us through whatever that experience is. And then we get to come get some more and come get some more. And so I think that this is power. This is purpose. This is to fuel your greatness, so that when you both are here with your girlfriends or with whoever you're here with, but also when you go back to live your dope life, you get to take that energy back with you. The armor of this whole 500,000 people, largest festival in the country, gets to go with you, and you just stand a little taller. Your shoulders be a little better when you go back to work to deal with that one coworker. Topic for another day.
Speaking of Essence, another thing I just wanted to touch on before we, talk about some other things is NOLA, right? New Orleans, one of my favorite cities in the world. I first fell in love with NOLA while I was volunteering during the Hurricane Katrina Relief Fund for 2 consecutive years in the Lower Ninth Ward. And it looked like Hurricane Katrina hit that Black community the day before. And from there, it's always been, such a, it was life-changing for me. And I've always felt home in New Orleans. Why has Essence always found its home? Essence Fest always found its home in New Orleans.
Well, Essence Fest started in New Orleans and has been here every year, except for the year you referenced and the 2 years we had to be virtual. So New Orleans is really a part of the fabric and DNA of this festival. And as we talk about the intentionality behind building festival, our partnership with New Orleans, not just for this one moment, but year round, becomes significant for us. This is an opportunity for us to fuel the economy. In New Orleans, it's an opportunity for us to prop up and celebrate local restaurants and Black-owned businesses who will be at our marketplace and who will be at Essence Eats. It is an opportunity for us to, in the same way that we are celebrating Black women, it is an opportunity for us to celebrate this incredible city who has always embraced us, who has always loved on us, and who, where Black people and culture are also at the epicenter. So it's just kind of a really beautiful marriage, if you will. And we have loved every moment of it. We have so much wonderful support from the city and from the host committee and our partners. And so we're thrilled to be back again.
Yeah, we'll never leave NOLA, right? Erika so wonderfully shared the story and the relationship of how these were born together. But I think that, in COVID and in other places, everybody got scared that how cities are able to leverage their culture to benefit from gatherings. I think every city felt threatened, right? And didn't know if some of these gatherings, figuring out how to deliver virtually, if they would realize they may never need to come back. What I can tell you with full assurance is we never even talked about it. In fact, while we did 100% virtual in 2020, in 2021, we had to come back, even if it was just for a week, to record ahead of time so that when we went live, we had recorded something in NOLA. Like, we need to get a little bit of NOLA on us because we couldn't go 2 years not having been on the ground. And so we definitely want to make sure that we're making the impact and as much of the Black economic impact as we can have, whether it be those businesses that make their year's revenue and what we do in a weekend, or what we're able to do with how what we bring to the table helps to fuel the vitality of the city. But what I want to be honest about is we probably end up getting more from the culture of the city to go back and do what we do where we live than we give them. And they give that out of just living their traditions. We had the opportunity to be a part of Mardi Gras for the first time this year, even though we've been in relationship. And the way in which New Orleans culture is just naturally hospitable, is naturally loving, celebrates. Second lines are my favorite thing to do, but it ain't the same when you're in New York. They don't quite react to it the same way in my little apartment in Manhattan, right? And so there is a loving and a hospitality to the way that New Orleans just exists, that when you're here, you family too. And so while we make sure that we make every economic impact that we can, no matter what we do and how much we continue to make sure that people are investing in Black, New Orleans culturally gives more than we could ever return to it.
Oh, wow. That is so powerful. And thank you for just expanding on that. I do want to shift gears a little bit and just talk about the driving force behind the expansion of Essence Ventures. You mentioned, Erika, you have this recently appointed position. Caroline, you've only been there for 2 years. Yeah. So we see the leadership team expanding, we see the portfolio expanding. What's driving that?
Well, here's the thing, right? I think that, there are many brands that exist under Essence Ventures. So there's the Sundial family of brands that sit under Rich Lou Dennis as chairman, and there is Essence Ventures, which is the brand that we sit within, that I have the honor to lead, that has within it BeautyCon and Afropunk and Essence, right, and Naturally Curly and Girls United and all of those brands. And then there's other things that sit in the Sundial group of families that we live adjacent to and work with, which is about our New Voices Fund and Foundation, that is about Black entrepreneurship. It's created 36 Black female millionaires since 2018, right? In addition to making sure that about 26,000 different Black-owned businesses are able to get any sort of advice they need on purpose, access, capital, and expertise to be the entrepreneurs that they want to be. We have the Madam C.J. Walker Institute that operates there, Group Black, which is about galvanizing the power of Black media entities to be able to deliver at larger scale and honestly be able to get more of that economic investment that businesses do have to be able to do with us. And it's an honor to be able to exist within that, including things that we do with things like Global Black Economic Forum. That entity and the vision for it that was created is not super old, right? Like the Essence brand has 50 years of history behind it because of who it was even before it was acquired by the Dennis family and returned to Black ownership. And it spent a lot of years being malnourished in where it was. However, this group of organizations that I've talked about outside of Essence and some of those other ones that were acquisitions, a lot of that has been established since 2018. And the impact that it's been able to have in that short amount of time just tells us that even in the transformation stage and the growth stage and the look at what we need to change stage and the, ooh, this hurts, I don't know if I want to go back tomorrow stage, what we know to be true is we are not anywhere near the capacity of what we can deliver for Black. And our mission together, and I know that if Rich Lou Dennis was here with me, he would agree with this, our collective mission is to really make sure that we are doing everything we can to continue to push Black generational wealth through the places that we are, but it's also just to return Blackness to greatness so we can walk up straight, proud about how we represent, not feeling like we have to minimize it or accommodate it. And so that group of family is there. I have the wonderful privilege of being able to have some of the best in class talent out there, not just in Black media, but in companies, period, now able to come and be a part of our team. So we have Erika that joined us as our chief marketing officer recently from Instagram. I know there was a day when I was like, will somebody from Instagram come work here? And I was like, we have somebody from Instagram who works here, right? And it wasn't about because we didn't believe we could do it. It's about people are seeing our vision. And I'm gonna let Erika talk about it in a second. Like, I came from a corporation, and I came because of the mission that I couldn't not be a part of and use the experiences that I had in corporate America to contribute to building this thing that just needs our time. And I had spent time in a white corporation, and so it wasn't that I didn't know what it was like. I just had never had the opportunity to have my 100% focus every day be Black, right? And to be able to bring the pedigree of a Target career that took me from intern to C-suite to an entity that is just Black and is just as powerful and is probably going to make more impact because of the mission behind it and the purpose behind it that is more than creating profit, there's no way I couldn't. And I'm going to have Erika speak in a minute, but we have Pauline, who joined us recently as our chief revenue officer and has been doing phenomenal things in the world that she's in, that's here so that she can help apply what she does with business development and revenue to this brand so we can continue to exist for our community. We've got folks like Avni Patel that has done a number of different things as our chief operating officer that is here helping us get our stuff together, right? We've got Barku Tubman, who's an an entrepreneur who has done global work for Black that thought it right to come here and be our chief of staff. We've got several people in other roles like Barclay, who has joined us. Sorry, Michael Barclay, but he goes by Barclay. That's his last name, who has joined us to be able to deliver experientially. Corey Stokes was done some phenomenal things in the creative and fashion world, who is here to help us with creative. And then we have an existing team that has been delivering for this brand for a variety of number of years. And so there couldn't be a more exciting time to be within the Sundial brand of companies, to be within the Essence Ventures brand of companies, because what we have the capability to do together will be a catalyst in helping return Blackness to greatness. And we're not saying there's others that aren't doing it. We are just overly dedicated in doing our part. But I want Erika to talk a little bit, because I got 2 years in. She's been, I'm not even going to try to say how many weeks.
Yeah. Well, Erika, I'm so glad that Caroline mentioned that you previously served as, at Instagram, you were actually the global culture and community marketing lead. You also served as global head of entertainment, education, and diversity creative marketing for YouTube. Huge brands in the tech space. What is it that made you come over and accept this position at Essence?
Yeah. I joined both of those platforms because I very much, and I still do, believe in the power of human connection that those platforms can bring to us. And I count it as a blessing and an honor to have worked directly with creators and creatives, and to have told stories of those that aren't always told. But when you get a call from Richelieu Dennis and from Essence to come do the work you've always wanted to do, centered around returning Blackness to greatness, centered around fueling economic equity for us, it's, you say yes. You say yes and you figure it out later. And I will say, having just joined the company, my perspective is different. There's an energy in this company. Everyone's walking along the same mission and purpose, that road that's so important. In tech, you have many different sort of mission. There's one mission statement, but you have many different ways to get there, right? There's a suite of products, and everybody's kind of taking a different path to get there. And here it feels very much we're all locked in arms, walking towards that mission. So there's just less explaining of our culture, less explaining of the why, less having to verify or validate what we already know to be true about the power of our community. And for me, that I was telling Caroline that actually, like last week, I said, there's the magnitude of the job to be done is not lost on me, but the weight of it feels different because of the ecosystem that I'm now in, and because of the way that that our needs are put at the absolute forefront of this company. So,
and there's a tremendous amount of capacity. This has been my story. There's a tremendous amount of capacity freed up when I don't have to worry about defending the fact that I'm Black trying to do my job, right? I don't have to worry about rounding out something that they think is a Black stereotype that I got to go up against. I can wear my locks in the color of 14 different sun stars and whatever else I want to do, right? I can move across the spectrum of the way that we leverage language. I can be super eloquent and quote Merriam-Webster's, and then I can be real petty and tell you some stuff that I saw on YouTube, and everything in between, and still feel equally valuable. I can show up in kente cloth, or I could show up in a suit. It doesn't matter, right? Because the spectrum of being Black is not something you have to spend time trying to figure out how to navigate and defend. And what that unlocks, that capacity that some of us that spend time in other environments have to use to do that, now becomes extra dedicated to the mission of Black. And so the acceleration of what we want to do in the world, and I understand how audacious it sounds, and we are not apologetic for that, is also going to be fueled by the capacity that comes with those that were working in the Essence's brands and other brands in other companies where they weren't feeling as safe not being Black owned, now doing it under being Black owned. And those of us that had the opportunity to join it after that moment and don't have to worry as much about defending the Blackness of who we are and just delivering what we do well, that is going to be part of the accelerant that will drive this brand and forward. And if there are other people that want to be a part of that journey, we've got roles open.
Hi.
And we've got places where we want to see it, and we want the best of who's out there to come and join us. And even if you don't want to join us, we ask for you to support us. We support you, and we are not here competing against each other. We're existing in competition because there is enough chairs around the table for all of us to be successful.
It's our opportunity and our honor to add more chairs to the table. I would just also add that, for Black women in particular, a lot of the spaces that Caroline and I have been in our previous journey weren't designed with us in mind. The tech industry, was, a lot of the founders are early on. I won't say now, there's been a great shift, but a lot of the founders early on, it was, a very male environment, a very white male environment, and it wasn't necessarily designed with us in mind. What is great about being at this company is it was built with Black women in mind and Black greatness in mind. And so it is for us, but it is by us. And I feel like that's just a slight change. And it's not to knock these outside companies, because I had wonderful experiences and learned so much. I'm so grateful for that time, but it is a little bit more of the swimming upstream.
What is it that you both hope to achieve during your tenure at Essence?
That's a good one.
I think for me, however long my tenure at Essence exists, right? Because it's not, by no means for me is it built on a timeline. I understand how my path to Essence connects to my personal purpose. I am a champion of authenticity. I have a gifting around inspiration that I have finally gotten comfortable embracing. And where those two things intersect, I help folks who have the skills to do what they need to do to just have the courage to go forward. And so for me, my tenure at Essence, what I hope the legacy becomes is that anywhere where authenticity was not unlocked and therefore purpose was not being met by the individual is exceeded, so that then the collective does more than it ever thought it could be. And whether that is about Black generational wealth, whether that is about gathering unapologetically, whether that is about adjusting who you are, how you think about yourself, how you love others, how you don't love others, how you clean up, how you become comfortable with just owning who you are and believing in personal purpose and pursuing that indignantly, even if it comes with consequences. That's what I want my legacy to be, because that's what my journey has been. My job is to bring together rock stars like this and help them be the best rock star they can be. And if my tenure at Essence has that as the tagline as I walk out the door, I am well.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I would echo everything that Caroline mentioned. I studied film in college.
Oh,
I did. My mom was like, can you also get a business degree? So I did both. But it was because I didn't see a lot of us authentically represented in film and television. There were a handful of shows like Girlfriends or Living Single or what have you. I'm totally dating myself. And then those shows went off the air, and then we had nothing for many, many years. And so I moved out and got into the industries that I got into with the intention of always centering our stories, whether that's the creators that create them or the platforms that have the reach and means to give these voices further reach, or now coming to Essence. And so I really see my goal as, making sure that we are tapping into our wildest dreams and making room for our incredible imaginations, and really doing that with the underpinning of understanding that we are super serving a Black community that has been starved of opportunity. So it's kind of up here, but I would just echo what Caroline said in terms of this being a mission-driven work for me. And really, we've been given the runway and the room to dream, and that's super important to me.
And there are 100 or so people that every day wake up and turn on their laptop in COVID versus coming to the office and are probably more dedicated to the success of this brand than they are to some things in their lives. There is a group of Black women and Black women allies that every day are the team that I have the privilege to play a leadership role for and serve as a remover of obstacles for them to come here. And the one sad thing I actually have about taking this job in the pandemic is I have yet to be in the office in this role with the office fully running and be with that group every day for long periods of day. That, and I've realized differently how important that is to me, because I don't take lightly the people who give of themselves to be able to deliver what we do here in NOLA, but also what we do every day. And the honor is mine for them to trust me with the leadership of what they do, but they're the heroes, right? My job is to remove obstacles. They're the heroes, and we honor them and appreciate what they do every day, especially what they've had to do in this unprecedented time.
Okay, well, ladies, so beautifully and eloquently said. We do have to begin to wrap this up, but before we let you go, if you each could give advice to other Black women who strive to climb the corporate ladder to make it to your positions, but don't have the benefit of being surrounded by that Black girl magic that upholds essence, what advice would you give them?
I would say, first of all, acknowledging and realizing that that magic lives inside of you, that you don't need anyone externally to validate it or dub you Black girl magic. I think part of our magic is recognizing and owning that it's always been inside of us. So that's the first way I'll answer that question. And the second is that I think a lot of times we play too small. I've done that in my career, right? I'm like, I'm just so happy to be here. Black girl in tech, I'm just so happy to be here. Instead of really looking at everything that was on the table for me and going, is this enough? Is this how I can show up every day fully and wholly? And everything that I have to bring to this organization, am I giving it? And when I started to really question that and started to really pressure test that, I realized that I needed to shoot higher and I needed to aim higher. And my career changed fundamentally. So I know that's not like, you should have XYZ mentors and blah, blah, blah. But I think we as Black women, we already diminish ourselves and then we present to the world, right? Because we're told like our hair's too much, we're too loud, we're too quiet, our fashion's too much. Like, we should be who we are and we should pursue relentlessly those opportunities that allow us to take up all the space. So that's my advice.
Yeah, I have a line that I use very often, which is, who you are is who you are. If you cannot be who you are, where you are, you change where you are, not who you are. And I think that, there's a plethora of advice that Erika and I could spew out in response to that question. We're being choiceful on which one we're choosing to use to answer this question. But what I would do is piggyback on where Erika ended around where we play ourselves small, and also help share that the place that you're in where you don't feel like you can be all of who you need to be successful there does not have to be the place. There are places like Essence as much as there are places like Target. There are places in tech as much as there are places in entrepreneurship, right? And so I also would just say that what I would love to see Black women out there do is prioritize their who and their purpose and live in indignant pursuit of the right where versus settling for a subpar where and diminishing your purpose. Because I fundamentally believe that we're each born with a purpose in this world and we are here to pursue it and nobody can do it on behalf. When we don't get to it, the world goes without, and that's not okay. So when you choose, sister, to not live in all of what you were born to do, the world is going with less than. And I guarantee you that if you choose to pursue it, you will find the where that aligns to your who. Just always bet on you. Yes. Find the where it works. You do not have to be where you can't be who you are. We have had people come before us that have worked hard for us here, and places like Essence exist for you, whether they are Black owned or not. And until you find the where that works with your who, don't stop looking. Don't settle.
Well, with that, we can pass the
Listen,
collection
or
plate,
something.
drop the
Listen,
mic,
Or the wine
church
glass,
is over.
the communion cup. I told people I'm a B plus Christian. Erika
Yes.
loves when I say that. But listen, I know what I am. I'm not gonna be. Listen,
Caroline.
I cannot do above that. And Jesus and I talked about that. We're okay. We worked it out. B plus Christian.
No.
Working hard over here to be less better. Look at it.
My whole PR and marketing spirit is just okay. All right, ladies and gentlemen,
I'll make you
I
cut
love
that
it.
part.
I am. I'm going to email you after. Please stop.
But I mean, I appreciate the authenticity, which is something that you champion. So thank
Thank
you
you.
Been good to be
It's
with
so
you,
good to
sis.
meet you.
showing up.
Yes.
This was phenomenal.
Good. And
Thank
we'll
you.
see you
I
shortly.
appreciate
You on your way to NOLA, right?
Yes, please come see us.
Yes,
All right.
I
We'll
am.
see you shortly.